evening, everybody, and you've got gas. It's the Great American Auto Scene, another Wednesday night, and I'll tell you what, Anna's got gas too. We think she got a helium bottle underneath her desk.
I don't have any gas at all.
Yeah, well, you know, so it's hard to keep Anna quiet. If she doesn't keep talking, the pressure builds up, and it's got to go someplace, so I'm glad she's talking. That's the alternative.
Okay, then.
All right, so tonight, here we are in studio again. We've got the always nutty Anna Marco, Anna Octane. Yeah, there she goes, yeah. Too much nitrous this morning.
I have a sponsor announcement.
Yes, you do. Product placement. Notice it.
Number 1 in car care. Right here.
Oh, man.
All right, working the boards and trying to keep us sane. It's Bruce Parker.
It's hopeless. Turn back.
I know. It's another great night. We've been back. What car shows have you been to lately?
Well, let's see. You know, it's funny. The last couple of car shows I've
Bruce,
been
look
to
at
are
your
same
hair.
ones that you've been to.
Hey, I'm gonna be at a great car show this weekend though, but
Yeah.
it's closed to the public, unfortunately.
What?
I'm gonna be emceeing a show at the Budweiser headquarters here on the West Coast.
Wow, that's a
And
tough
it's gonna
gig,
be-
Bob.
it's free beer for everyone who enters a car.
Man.
It's going to be an employee appreciation, and I guess it is open to somewhat spectators because it is a charity show for the United Way.
Oh, well,
So we're going to be doing it at if you're in Southern California, you know where Budweiser is.
yes. Is there something car related?
Yes.
Okay.
Car show.
Drinking and
Oh,
driving.
okay.
It's going to be a car show.
Okay.
As well as
Ouch.
yeah, we're going to have a live DJ. The dead one just doesn't work. So we're going to have a live DJ. I'll be on stand. I'll be emceeing the event. We're going to have trophies. We're going to have over 200 cars. It's going to be a great day. You get to tour the factory or the brewery. There'll be brew as usual there. And a few other booths. LAPD will be there. LA Fire will be there. You get to see some great stuff, some great cars. It's going to be at Budweiser in, I guess they call it Sepulveda or North Hills.
No, yes,
Yes,
it's not Van Nuys.
It's not- no, it's not Van
I have
Nuys.
something to say.
Uh-oh.
Excuse me. Do you
Again?
know that beer drinking makes you smart?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Budweiser.
You don't drink, do you? It's
No, I drink Russian hacked water.
Russian hacked water. Yeah, it's the water. Comes directly from Michigan for you.
It's, what, Flint? I hope
Yeah,
not.
Flint. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
ouch!
She has Flint spring water.
There was like 9 places I was hoping we weren't going to go tonight, and we just went to all of them in the first
Everyone
2
all at
minutes.
once. All right, we got some special guests in studio tonight. Jennifer Caputo is sitting alongside me. She is going to be the new driver of the Mullen Mopar.
The
Magnum.
Mopar Max Mullen Magnum.
The Mopar Max Mullen
Man,
Magnum. Say
that
that
is-
fast 3 times.
She's the bomb. We have famous people in the
We do.
in the
Now,
studio.
everyone in studio, except for Bruce, is a member of the TMPCC, the Motion Picture Car Club. And we are all members. And because of that membership, though, we have gotten together with a number of different things, including car shows at some studios and so forth. But that is how Jennifer and Richard Krantz got together. Richard's another guest in studio. Richard is the main motivator, I guess you could say. And we're thinking about that, and Anna's going crazy already. Of the Mullen Mopar, the Magnum.
He's the main man.
He's the main man.
Of the
He's the
Mullen Mopar.
He's the head mauler. He mauls more than anybody else.
Mopar Max Mullen. That's a lot of
Mopar
M's.
Max, yes. Try to say that fast again. So we've got Richard Krantz over there. We're going to give you some secrets about Richard a little bit later on. One thing, yes. Jennifer Caputo's been in over 182 movies. And she's a stunt driver extraordinaire. We'll be talking to her in just a couple of minutes once we can calm down Anna.
I'm fine.
You are? Compared to what?
To normal.
No, the normal's a setting on the dryer.
You know what?
No, what?
I sniffed liquid glow before
Liquid glow,
the
yeah.
show. Had a shot of liquid glow.
That's the problem.
most
You're supposed to
fabulous
use it on the
care
car.
Product makes everything bright and shiny. Mm-hmm. It's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Made me bright and shiny too.
Well, it made you shiny. It's, we're going to go. Jennifer, well, let's go on to you right now. We're going to walk right into this mess head first. Jennifer, you are now going to be the driver of the Magnum. What is your, I told people that you're a stunt driver and you've been in over 182 movies. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the movies and the TV and the things that you've done so far in the past?
Oh, wow. It's been about 25 years. And I've been fortunate enough to...
You started when you were 4?
Yeah, you're lovely. You're lovely.
You are such a sweet talker.
Such a sweet guy.
Bonus points.
Yeah, no, actually I started after graduating college.
Wow.
Moved out, had kind of zero experience with any sort of vehicles, and took a passion with motorcycles, which kind of got me into the wheeled aspect. And yeah, trained super hard at that. Did a lot of motocross, raced professionally for 6 years in the women's pro class. And yeah, that kind of led me into stunts. And from there, started learning cars. And been to a couple schools around. Bondurant School of Driving I went early on. Rick Seaman has a stunt course. Taken some drifting classes. Yeah, a rally course, Dirtfish up in Washington. And yeah, so it's and all of those avenues have kind of groomed me to be a stunt driver, I guess, you know, with all the different disciplines and things that we have to do.
And now you're going to try drag racing.
And now I'm going to try drag racing. That was yeah, it's kind of just a good fortune, honestly, being in the car club and reuniting with Richard and yeah, having this opportunity. I'm very excited. It's,
So what are some of the movies or TV shows that you've been in that we might recognize?
Recently, the Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Doubled Emma Stone on those. Got to do some fun stuff for her. Most recently, it's a lot of more TV. Fear the Walking Dead. Gotten killed quite a few times on there as a zombie. And yeah, oh my gosh, it's like you said, 180 something, and I'm completely blanking right now. But Thor, yes, yeah, thank you.
And then Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels, yes. I got to drive the, well, I guess the Formula Style car. I'm not sure exactly which ones those were.
All right.
That was you?
That was me. Well, it was myself and a gal named Lori Creech, who was the main driver. I was just kind of getting into it, and she had a lot more skill than what I did, and so she got the main seat, and I got to do second unit, which was the second. Okay. Yeah. So
which is still fun.
A little bit of driving. Oh, absolutely, still fun. Just getting to put a helmet on and get inside those cars, and cars were made by Rick Cressy, and just bulletproof, fun, high horsepower things to drive.
All right, so we've got the Mullen Magnum. It's showing. We got a picture here on the Liquid Glow website showing the front wheels up in the air. Now you've driven, but most times you try and keep the wheels on a car down on the ground.
Well, most of the times we're trying to get all four off the ground.
Oh, okay. Well, don't do this at the drag strip. Not the way to do it there.
Yeah, Richard and I are going to make sure we have a...
Last thing I want to say during the staging lines is remember, avoid the wall, and we don't want to barrel roll the car.
Yeah, rubber side down, shiny side up.
Exactly.
It's so weird. It's like exactly the opposite.
The opposite. Yeah, intensity the same, but just do not crash.
All right, now you're going to go to a driving school to learn how to drag race. You were out at Irwindale just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
You were practicing, getting an idea of what a drag strip is and what drag racing is. You hadn't drag raced before.
I have not drag raced before then. No.
So you're going to go
First
to
foray into it. It was an interesting process. As is, it's fun figuring things out and being there for the first time. And you came out and gave me a nice I don't know, introduction to the track and what to look for. And Richard's of course is always there helping me out. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to go to Vegas and go to Frank Hawley's school. Be able to get some track time in, figure out how the car works, how we're going to work well together, and just, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be your first. Now, you haven't driven the Mopar yet.
Not yet.
So that's going to be your first opportunity to actually drive the car.
Yes.
And how much horsepower, Richard, how much horsepower is the Magnum putting out now?
Right now, about 950.
Holy.
Yeah, you're talking about a 4,100-pound car on the scales that does the 1/4 and 9/8 flat.
Wow, 2 tons of fun.
Yeah, real steel, all steel.
Kind of reminds me of a girl I once dated, but that's another story. So, and this thing, it's an all-steel body.
And
The
it's
engine-
a station wagon, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I lost my
The car actually started as a 13.5-second stone stock car a long time ago.
Right.
And now we have an amazing engine. It's our second race engine built by Arrington Performance out of Martinsville, Virginia. It's a 426 stroked 6.4 liter, so classic 426 Gen 3 Hemi, magic
Okay.
numbers for the Mopar people. We have a Magnuson supercharger on it. It's the 2.3 liter. We have done amazing stuff with Magnuson and Arrington. This engine on pump gas dynoed at 853 horsepower, and that's what a customer can order from Arrington.
Wow.
If they want that, and drive that around on the street. You know,
So you don't need to wait till Dodge introduces or releases the Demon. You can build your own.
Yeah. I mean, come on, the Demon's pretty amazing, and kudos to Dodge for even putting that thing out there. The difference between a Demon and the Magnum is the Magnum now is, of course, track only. It's not
Right.
street legal in any way, shape, or form. But it's a lot of fun, and the crowd likes it. We've used it for, I'm editor-publisher of Mopar Max magazine. This car has been a development vehicle. This was a 2007 model year car, and they only really brought the Hemi back to cars in 2005, so there wasn't a lot of performance parts. We've broken everything you can break on a late model Hemi 3 times at least. You learn from the lessons. Our wonderful marketing partners work with us, and we help develop parts, and we've identified weaknesses for them. And then Magnuson last year identified a weakness, a problem we'd had for 3 years of breaking belts, and so it's a great car. It's fun to watch this big red Magnum, pull the wheels, and it sounds awesome.
I can imagine.
It sounds great.
I've only seen the car run once. That was when you brought it out to Irwindale a number of years ago. But it's gotten even more advanced since that time.
Yes, we have our second Arrington engine, which, as I said, is stroked to 426. We have a different transmission in it. The rear end is a Ford 9-inch. Sorry, Mopar people. But we still have the stock Mopar geometry rear suspension, although it's not aluminum and bushings. It's steel and Heim joints now. It's still a Mopar. The heart of it's a Mopar.
Now, are we going to see it at any car shows or just races?
Yes, this year, it was me actually. I had some health issues, so there was kind of a pause in the program. Once the car gets back on the track and we start moving, and now that I'm getting back to snuff, yes, the car is a lot of fun to take to shows. I love when kids get in it. You never know when you're igniting the next, passionate car enthusiast out there.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
All right, now, Richard, fun fact about you. Your background did not start out as cars. You are actually an actor.
I was a child actor, yes. I started acting when I was so young I couldn't read. My mom would record the lines for me the night before, and in 1965 I made a movie called The Singing Nun, which I don't think anybody under the age of 45 would have possibly even heard of. And I acted in movies and TV for until I was 13. And you're a kid. You don't know that this isn't normal. I was on location in India and Mexico, and seeing myself in the local movie theater, and that's just okay. That's life. It wasn't until you're older and you look back, you're like, that was a pretty odd childhood.
Yeah.
No.
You could have been the next Tommy Ivo.
There you go. The same again.
Oh, I wish. I wish. He had a great life.
Yeah, he did good. And you're doing good, too. I mean, heck, you're the head of Liquid Glow Car Care Products, Mopar Max magazine. We see you all over. You're a member of TMPCC based on your history as an actor, and that's history that's never going to be erased.
Yeah, and it's basically my life is now it's cars. It's the drag race team. It's Liquid Glow, my car care products company. The magazine Mopar Max. I got to give a shout out to 2 people. Bruce, you're very familiar with Dar Hawthorne.
Oh, yeah.
If it hadn't been for Dar, I would never have gotten into working for the magazine, and Dar's passion for drag racing is infectious, and Jeff Burke and Kay Burke, owners of Drag Racing Net Source, Drag Racing Online is our biggest flagship, and that opened a lot of doors. When you're writing for the magazine, you meet people, car shows, racing, magazine, articles, reviews, test. I mean, that's life. 7 days a week. I love it. I'm blessed.
You're lucky. You got to be in the sport and the hobby where you're actually having fun while you're working. Kind of like Anna is doing
Right now.
when she understands what she's doing.
Did so much fun sitting between these 2 awesome people. The greatest thing is you get to meet like minds. It's makes me happy.
Like mines?
Like mines. We love the sport of
Oh, that part of it. Yes, there's no other part of your mind is like anyone
Oh
else's.
yeah.
Photobomb.
Oh yeah.
I write for. This is our new issue. Car Culture Deluxe is out. I think we're going to do an interview on Jennifer, and it's just, you're right. It's 7 days a week of fun, but it's work too.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Jennifer. When she is actually getting ready to do a stunt, she told me they have an action designer who plan. Is that what they're called? Or an action director. They plan out what you're going to do.
Well, there is somebody that does plan out all the action. Yeah, whether that's an action coordinator, or it's the director, or it's a combination of quite a few people, and the stunt coordinator is there as well. So the action is planned out before you.
So it's not just crazy. It's
before you
all
get
planned
there.
out. Safety is important. And I was even asking her what she thought about the 405 freeway. Everybody who wishes they were her, who can't drive, but she's really driving, and she understands safety and lane courtesy. We were talking about that, and she's totally calm. Like, she's bomb-proof.
Go the speed limit.
Go the speed limit.
Don't not had the best luck with police officers.
Oh,
Well, not that
Can't
it's
imagine
been bad
why.
luck, but
Yeah.
You can't show them your stunt driver's license and
no.
get out.
Unfortunately, I wish that would work. But
Well, we're going to have a segment right after this break, and we're going to talk about speeding
break?
tickets. And
Before this break,
what-
let's talk
before
about
this break?
our fabulous products here.
Yes, little product placement.
Hey,
Yes,
I hope we do
product
talk about these products later in the show,
Yeah,
Anna.
we will.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, then.
All right, so we're going to break for a commercial. We'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas.
You know, they say it's difficult for a woman to keep a secret. Well, I'll tell you a secret. Sometimes it's pretty difficult for a man to keep a secret. For instance, here is one that I have been itching to talk about for over a year. See this Plymouth Belvedere, one of the great new cars of the forward look. Take a really good look, because I'd like to have you try and tell the difference between this Plymouth and the one you're about to see.
Actually, there are two differences about this car. One, you can't buy it at any price. Two, it runs with no carburetor, no piston rings, no radiator, with only one spark plug, and on ordinary fuels you can buy anywhere. And here under the hood, you see the big difference. It's the Chrysler gas turbine engine, the first turbine engine ever to be successfully installed in a standard passenger car. Yes, here is another great first from Chrysler Corporation. More than 200 pounds lighter than a conventional engine of similar power, it has less than 1/5 as many moving parts. Developed by Chrysler Corporation to power a regular production model, you can hardly pick it out from other Plymouths, unless you happen to spot the special insignia that tells you there's a revolutionary engine under that hood. The horsepower it develops is 120. However, the driving power it delivers to the wheels equals that of a 160 horsepower conventional engine. As for fuel economy, it is comparable to any 120 horsepower car engine today. What's more, a gas turbine engine will run on anything from gasoline to heavy fuel oil. This car has no radiator. Its engine is air-cooled, therefore never needs water. Other attempts to design a practical turbine engine resulted in extremely hot, burning exhaust gases. But Chrysler Corporation engineers licked that problem. The exhaust temperature is cooler than that of the average car today. You can hold your hand over this exhaust pipe and not get burned. The Turbine Special is just one of many research projects in progress at Chrysler Corporation. And as each new advance is perfected, it will be made available to you to keep you ahead in car performance, in safety, and in styling.
Now do you see why I wanted to shout about this? And even though the turbine engine may not be available for some time to come, the important thing to you and me is that it typifies the kind of engineering that you've come to expect from Chrysler Corporation. It's the years ahead thinking that has resulted in today's Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, and the exclusive Imperial.
All right, we are back. How you doing? I'm Hot Rod Bob. We've got Jennifer Caputo in studio with us. Anna Octane. And she's got a little bit too much octane today. We don't know where she got it from. And alongside her, Richard Krantz. And always working the boards, it's Bruce Parker. All right, we told you about tickets, and Jennifer said she's had a little problem with the police lately. Well, we all have as we were growing up. More so when we were younger, but you're going to find out it also happens more when you get older. Well, you know, we did a survey, and we checked out, actually we didn't check it out, Road and Track Magazine checked it out, how people and why people get speeding tickets. One of the things they found out is, you're driving 4 to 5 miles an hour over the limit, you're not likely to get pulled over. Drive 10 miles an hour, the odds are a little bit better that you're going to get a ticket.
All right.
But at 12 miles an hour, you're almost guaranteed to get a ticket for speeding. So under 12 miles an hour, it's a pretty safe zone. Under 5 miles an hour over the limit, you're probably going to get ignored. And what the cops are saying is there's plenty of people driving over 12 miles an hour over the speed limit. Why go for the guys only doing 5? So think about that. I'm not saying do 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, but you're less likely to get that ticket. Now, one of the things they also looked at is the median speed that you get a speeding ticket at, and that is actually 16 miles an hour.
Wait a minute. The median speed, you said?
Median speed of a speeding ticket. Which means, all right, the average is 16 miles an hour over the limit. And
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you mean the median speed.
yeah, no, the average
the median speed above the limit.
Above the limit, yes.
Okay.
It's 16 miles an hour over the limit. So you got to figure how many guys are doing 90 and 100 to bring that up to that number.
Oh, you know it.
Oh, yeah. I remember when there was no speed limit in Nevada. And as we'd head up to Vegas, as soon as we crossed the border, it was pedal to the metal, and I could get that gremlin up to at least 98.
Was it a Gremlin X? 99?
It was with a 3-speed on the floor. I mean, it was something else. All right, and then the hours that you're going to get a speeding ticket, you're less likely to get a speeding ticket in rush hour traffic. Who'd have guessed that? How can you get a speeding ticket in rush hour traffic? I did have a guy that worked for me once that did get a speeding ticket in rush hour traffic.
How'd he do it?
Well, he was on the shoulder.
You know what? You can't get a speeding ticket in rush hour when you're doing 20 miles an hour.
Exactly, but you've got to be in the lanes to do that. The most amount of tickets are given out for speeding between 1 and 3 p.m.
Now that's interesting.
Now, that's the low. Well, it's the low. No, you're back from lunch at 1 o'clock, or you're late. So you're driving fast to get back. So between 1 and 3 p.m. is the prime time for getting a speeding ticket. So when you're driving at between 1 and 3 p.m., don't go more than 5 miles an hour over the limit and stay away from the ticket.
So is the lesson here, get up early and do your speeding?
Get up early and do your
slides
speeding.
in
Yeah, do your speeding during rush hour when no one's noticing.
Jennifer comes back from lunch sliding in sideways. That's how she does. And then she lands right in the parking spot. I wish I could do that.
There's a scene from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective where
Yes.
exactly that thing happens, and it's with a Land Rover, something horrifying, where he flips it over and it lands just in a pile of parts, and he says, "Like a glove."
Yeah. All right, now, can you guess which days you're most likely to get a ticket?
I'm going to go for Thursday.
Thursday.
I'll go for Saturday.
Saturday.
Monday.
And Jennifer?
Friday.
Well, Anna's not right.
Oh.
Bruce is not right. No, Anna. Well, we know Anna's not right, but it's got the question. Actually, the best days to avoid a ticket are Monday through Thursday.
Okay, best days to avoid it, which means Friday through Sunday are the worst days for
Right.
tickets.
That's when they get you the most. But those are the days when people, for the most part, aren't working. So they're out. I'm going someplace. I'm going someplace to have fun, and I'm going to get there before everybody else, and so forth. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the worst days, and there are more tickets given on the weekend than during the week. Now, fewer tickets are written on Monday through Thursday, and that seems to be the best time. But think about it. You're at work, or you're driving in rush hour traffic. When can you speed?
That's true.
So you're looking at that. Now, age is a big difference, too. Under 25 is probably the largest group of people to get tickets. They also are the guys and gals that drive the fastest. However, the women get less tickets.
Interesting.
Except for Jennifer, right? I know.
I haven't had a problem in a lot of years.
And a lot of,
A
and
lot
that's
of
the
years.
thing. Now, drivers 40 and over are getting 1/3 of the tickets. Now, in graph by age, there's a huge decline in tickets after age 19. Because at 19, you're either in college, you're starting to get smart, or you're working. So
little
you
more
got a little
responsible,
bit
yeah.
more responsibility. So
Yeah.
after 19, that's when the graph starts to fall off on getting the tickets.
Huh.
You're still more likely to get one till you're 25, but at 19, the numbers start going down. Women get it at a lower rate than men, and the difference is substantial. About 1.5 times as many women avoid tickets than men.
You know why,
Yes, I do. No.
officer?
They're women.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please don't give me a ticket.
All right, now this doesn't. No one here except maybe me has to worry about this,
That's how
but
you get out of a ticket.
yeah, that's how you get out of it. I remember that from the gumball rally. Didn't quite work. Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
That's because your boobs aren't big enough.
No, the officer was was female.
policewoman.
It was a policewoman, so it didn't quite work.
Oh boy.
All right, past age 55, men get 2 tickets for each one given to a woman. So it's 50% greater for men over 55 years of age. I think that's their second childhood. They've bought their Corvette now, or they've bought their Viper, and now they're having fun. The wind's blowing through what's left of their hair, and they're driving down the street. So they seem to do it. Now, police officers have the discretion to give tickets to you were driving with the top down too quickly. That's all there is to it, Richard.
You know what?
No,
they won't
what?
be able to catch him because he's in the Mullen
No, I don't drive. I don't drive.
He doesn't drive.
You know
But
what? I
some-
think the police are jealous of the Mullen Mopar.
Well, do you know why the guy in the Viper got a speeding ticket?
No.
Because he let the officer catch him.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true.
So you think about that, and we got a cop in the background going by us right now. All right, so the thing is, don't drive more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Here they come.
Become a woman. No. So Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner will not get tickets for a while. Although I think he's over 55.
All right, so yeah.
So
it's
back
everything-
in the fray of things.
Yeah.
And so forth. But that's basically what they found. Road and Track Magazine and Mechanics Illustrated has published these statistics. You can get them online. You can check it out, read the whole story. It's rather interesting. And avoid those tickets if you can.
I
Right,
plan
Bruce?
to. I plan to.
Yeah.
My wife actually drives far faster than I do. So, and I drive cars that are 60 years old. I'm not going to take it up.
They're too cool. They're just looking at the car. They're not watching how fast you're going.
Well,
they put down the radar guard. Would you see that coming up the
What
street?
is
the
that?
radar guard goes down.
I don't know. We're looking at the distant wildlands. Richard can explain this all, bet.
Well, talk about avoiding
Is there a
speeding.
Mopar in that
Yeah,
field?
Actually, there is. Right to the left is a Ram Cummins truck. I just got back off a 5-day, 2,000-mile road trip to see the total eclipse of the moon in east of the sun in
the
East
sun.
Idaho. There's the Ram, which I have owned a Cadillac, and I got to tell you, the Ram trucks are more comfortable, especially cross country.
How
Oh my
about that?
goodness, it's like a living room on wheels. We tow the race hauler with it. We traveled cross country. We saw the totality. My family got to go to Zion. We were in Wyoming. We were in Idaho in 5 days, and then here. So
A whirlwind tour.
yeah, and we have a cruise control. And when I wasn't driving, I told my wife and I told my son when it was their turn, set it for 4 miles an hour above the speed limit, which in parts of Utah is fun because it's 80 miles an hour on 15. So.
Yeah. If you've never driven through that, I did that in a U-Haul once, right up against the rev limiter. I mean,
Well, so you guys did have the cool glasses too.
Yeah. That's just before totality, which was just an amazing experience.
Hey, you told us a little bit of this. By the way, I do have to show these. I might, I'll have to mount these in the trophy case somewhere here at the studio because they're just too cool to throw away. It's like I was there, man.
Right.
But you guys got to watch because you were in the totality. A lot of our Southern California viewers did not get to see this way, but you got to watch as the shadow of the moon coming across the sun was pretty dramatic.
It was worth the trip. It was worth getting. We were right in the center of totality, and I had done some research. But Jen, you're going to learn this. I research everything to death. So one of the tips that I read was just as you're about to see the sun disappear, take off the glasses and turn towards where the west, where the shadow's coming from. And that picture that was just, you saw a dark band on the horizon. You saw this darkness, and it 2,000 plus miles an hour, it rushed across the land and suddenly engulfed you. And at the moment of totality, you saw the sun, the corona, and it was sunset 360 degrees around you. You had the sense of being in the moon's path. It was amazing. And it was all over in 2 minutes and 14 seconds, and we spent the next 8 hours in the Ram trying to get back to Ogden, Utah.
But you had a Corona, so you were fine. Oh, wrong Corona.
Good thing you
I
had
always
that
get
cruise
that
control.
wrong. I don't understand. All right, so you've got to go. You're going to Frank Hawley School. When are you going to do that, Jen?
October. I believe it's the 11th and 12th,
9th and 10th.
9th and 10th,
9th and 10th up in Las Vegas.
up in Las Vegas.
You're going to drive the Magnum at that point. That's what you're going to license it.
Yes.
Okay, so no behind the wheel in one of their race cars first.
No.
You're going to go right into the Magnum. Huh. Now you're
so.
going to go down. You got to go be fitted for the car.
Yes. We're headed down next week to
Mountain View Performance
Mountain
out
View
in Rancho
Performance
Cucamonga.
Oh, those guys are good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very good.
Yeah.
Get
the
the
seat
car
situated,
fitted. Make sure she's comfortable. Got a few tricks up that I'm not going to talk about because we're racers. A couple new things going on the car. And then off to Frank Hawley, who is in Frank is an amazing man. I've audited his classes a couple of times. He's just a natural born teacher, in addition to being a 2-time World Fuel Funny Car champion. You could go to his school just for life lessons, even if you never wanted to drag race. Just the way he teaches things about how to think and focus and look at problems. So it's going to be fun.
No, it's good. Now, the car runs 980s. What class are you going to be targeting to run the car in?
Jenna's going to be getting her short wheelbase super gas license.
Okay.
But it's a bracket car. It doesn't really like to run index. So in NMCA West, right after licensing, the car will be running Quick Street, and we always run the bracket races. That it's set up to like the Summit Series. It would be running in the Pro class.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we target.
Now, Richie, you don't drive the car, but you built a heck of a car. I mean, you've done a lot of the work, or most of the work, on this car.
Thank you. Yeah, with great support from partners. I tried racing. I spent motocross. I was terrible at it. Motorcycle club racing. I was terrible at it. Circle track racing. I was terrible at it. Bonneville land speed motorcycle racing. Not as terrible. I just wasn't meant to be a driver, but I have a background. I was an aircraft mechanic. I worked on my own cars, and when I was young, I always blamed not doing well and not having good parts. I couldn't afford the good tires. Now that I'm mature, I can just look back and go, you know what? I just wasn't that good a driver. So I have much more fun crewing and watching the drivers do their thing, because they're amazing out there.
All right, the Magnum is very modified. We've watched the Magnum over the years run, and it's gone, like you said, from a 13-second car to a 980, and that takes a lot. I mean, that's like you're saying, it's a real steel car. There's no fiberglass parts on this. This is not a tube chassis car. This is a real unibody steel from the factory Dodge Magnum. The advantage probably of the Magnum is a little bit more weight over the rear wheels.
Yeah, and it's a very stiff body structure. You watch the car. I mean, it does have, of course, an 8.5 cert cage, but you watch the car, it launches real straight. The wheels come up nice and even. It's a very strong structure. It's an oddball car, to tell you the truth. If I had it to do over, I definitely wouldn't be drag racing a 9.8 second Magnum, because everybody has Challengers, so parts are much easier and bolt-in stuff. So everything's kind of one-off and custom on it. But it's been a path, and it's really a credit to just modern car making. Period. We were just watching that commercial from the mid-50s. And I'm a Mopar guy, but I love everything that's cars. Camaros, Mustangs, they're cool. Challengers are cooler, but they're still cool. But that late model cars, you can put almost any brand. You can put a blower kit, a turbo kit, nitrous. You can. There's a lot of people at the racetrack. You see this at Irwindale, I'm sure. There's a lot of 800, 900 horsepower street cars running around.
Well, what amazes me, too, is when you think about it, I have a 56 Chevy. When that car was new, it was considered high performance. It would run the quarter mile in 19 seconds. That was high performance? My Econo box, my little Chevy HHR I drive daily, will run 14s to 13-second ETs on a 4-cylinder. So you think about where we've gone, and you talk to race car guys that are building small block Chevys, 350 Chevys. They're getting 400 or 500 horsepower out of that today.
Right.
But you go into the dealership, you get an LS Series Camaro, or you get a Challenger, you got 500 horsepower right off the showroom. And the car drives down the street, the air conditioning's on, the stereo's playing, you're comfortable, you're quiet, you got an automatic transmission with 8 speeds versus a 4-speed manual or a turbo 400 in a, it's a world of difference. You've got a car that is made to go that quick, and it's almost like the same thing we went through in the 70s, late 60s, 70s. Hot rodders were out there trying to build as much horsepower as they could out of the cars that were available, and then all of a sudden the manufacturers came out with Roadrunners, GTOs, Super Bs, and you had 300 to 400 horsepower right off the showroom. And that was high performance. I mean, you think about a Roadrunner today, 383 Roadrunner, 4-speed. That was a high-performance car. Lightweight. It ran 14-second ETs.
Yeah.
Now we got 4-cylinders doing that. The only thing about the Roadrunner is it wouldn't turn left and right. And it had trouble stopping at those speeds. Whereas today's cars, you got disc brakes, you've got sway bars.
They brake, they accelerate.
Turn. Even that Magnum, before you made it strictly a drag car, would go around a corner a whole lot better than most cars in the 60s and 70s. The muscle cars of the days gone by were muscular for the time.
Yeah.
By today's standards, they won't cut it. Now, Jen, we talked about some of the movies you were in, and I've got the list here I finally found. Fast and Furious, The Amazing Spider-Man, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, Terminator 3, Green Hornet, and many more. But Terminator 3, what did you do in Terminator 3? Because that was primarily male stars.
Oh, I was just they call it a utility stunt person, just kind of in the crowds,
Oh, okay.
getting out of the way of things,
just crashing
dodging
stuff.
things. Yeah.
Oh,
God, that
don't
is
think
one
about
of
that. You
Yeah.
think about the people in the cars executing
Yeah.
the stunts. You don't think about the crowd that's
Got to get out of the
scrambling
way.
and jumping out of the
Yeah.
way. Those aren't just ordinary extras.
And how about in Fast and Furious? Were you one of the drivers, the stunt drivers that we saw?
You know, I got to be honest with you. That was so long ago, and I don't remember working on it. I remember one day doing a 180 in a car, and honest to goodness, it wasn't until I got a residual check that I was like, I worked on Fast and Furious? That was pretty exciting.
That is so that was the first movie.
Well, that's kind of that way because you just go to a
yes.
set and you're shooting a single scene. You're not shooting the whole movie in a day.
No.
So you only know that scene that you're doing, that section, and where it ends up. If it even ends up, if it doesn't end up on the cutting room floor, you don't know.
Exactly. You have no idea when you go in if what you're going to do is going to make the show, or if it's Usually, if it's something big that you're called in to do, you'll definitely make it in the movie. But
All right. So you've
Yeah.
driven a bunch of cars. You've driven motorcycles. Is there any type of car you'd like to drive that you haven't yet?
Dodge.
yeah, there you go.
Okay. Get Nancy for that.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I just like to jump in for a second here. When we announced we were looking for a driver, and we had some amazing applicants, Nicole George, if you're listening, or
Yeah.
Stephanie Strang and Melissa Davis. There were just so many really talented drivers. But Jen kind of stuck out for a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, I mean, motorsports is about entertainment. That's what we do. That's what drag racing is. And movies. I mean, Hollywood, drag racing. This can't be anything but fun. But it was a basic skill set. Jen didn't talk about it. She was a competitive athlete. She's raced motocross, which is very physically demanding. The precision required for stunts, it's about timing. She's talked about, when you're supposed to go through the intersection, you got to hit it at the right speed, the right time, the right rate of acceleration, the eye-hand coordination. So all the basic foundational skills are there, and Jen's personality is so unflappable. She made a joke. She said you could wake up from a dead sleep you could light her on fire. She'll jump off a building, hit her mark, and go back to sleep. So it's going to be fun, and that's part of what this is all about, having fun. It's going to be interesting for the readers to read about a Hollywood stunt woman racing a Magnum.
There you go. All right, you mentioned, and I don't mean to change the subject and get off you, but Nicole George, she's a regular racer at Irwindale, runs the Summit Series, and I kid her about this a lot, but she also holds the speed and ET record between the 60 freeway and the 10 on the 605. Passed me like I was standing still one Thursday night on the way to the racetrack.
She was at the upper end of that 16 mile per hour.
She's got a quick Mustang.
And you will notice her Mustang is glowing these days.
Yes,
and has
I do.
one of these yellow stickers on the
Does
side
it?
now.
I'll
Yes,
have to look
yes,
at
we're
that
gonna-
when
we're
she
a
comes up
contingency
tomorrow
sponsor
night.
for her now.
Yeah.
And,
With glowing.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, she neat lady, and she competes in the Summit Series and is out Thursday nights at Irwindale all the time. And then I've got to do this too. This is one of our viewers from Great Britain, Ingrid Chesworth.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Hey! Happy birthday, Ingrid.
She comes out every year to the Hot Rod reunion with her husband. One day I'll have to get her to leave him home. But Ingrid, we're glad you're coming out to the Hot Rod reunion again this year. And happy birthday over in Great Britain.
What do you know? Where it's already tomorrow. It's about 2
Yes.
or 2:30ish in the morning. So.
Yes, but she'll
So
watch.
they know the Powerball numbers. Call her real quick.
Yeah, call us tomorrow
There.
one. Yeah. I can do that. I got my ticket. I bought mine.
Oh, yeah.
I think if I win, I'm buying Irwindale. That's it.
I'm buying Irwindale.
We're going back racing. That's what I'm going to do.
Not often you get to hear that phrase. I'm buying Irwindale.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break here as we rest up. Anna is kind of quiet. I think the nitrous is worn off.
Liquid Glow, get your bright and shiny on.
You're hiding the name. Move your fingers. No, not that one.
Oh, sorry.
On the
Liquid
bottle.
Glow.
On the bottle.
Get it.
Vanna White, you have no
Yeah,
worries.
Vanna White.
You're set. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Yes, anything could happen. And it was about to happen to me. As the world's greatest secret agent in the power of the world's greatest villain, the insidious Dr. Yes.
Now, 007 and 7/8, we're going to put you to the test. This airfield is my secret base, where we torture and torment. People? Oh, good heavens, no, that's against the law. Automobiles. Come. We've had this car made especially for you.
Wing machine guns, ejection seat, and all of that.
Oh, no. We found that those options had a somewhat limited market. This time, we've put all the goodies under the bonnet.
There it is. The 396 cubic inch turbojet V8. Special high performance camshaft, 4-barrel carburetor, and large dual exhaust.
Horsepower? 360, but who counts? The interior is in full keeping with your image as a man of action. Stratobucket seats, center console, recessed instrument cluster, all that sort of thing. But you'll be in some pretty fast company. Now then, I would like you to meet your competition. This is Granny Turissimo. She cheats. And Tony Tiger.
But why are you doing this?
Yes, you would want to know that, wouldn't you?
So let's tell him. He won't be around to blow the whistle on us. Take the difference in selling prices between Chevelle and the Bopettes, for instance.
Based on suggested retail prices, she quickly pointed out that comparable Chevelle models average up to $230 less than Tempest, up to $175 less than F-85, and up to $370 less than Buick Special.
As for the Fairlane GT, it's already a counterfeit GTO. We just need to add the O. Now, are you ready?
Yes, but where's my girl?
Oh, yes, how stupid of me. You do need a girl to rescue, don't you? Will she do?
I could see that she would. A go-go girl to go with my go-go car.
We are holding thousands just like her in cages all over the country. But that's another of my fiendish schemes. Let's get on with this one.
And we did. We faced a series of diabolical tests. The SS-396 against GTO and just plain GT. Each car the goingest performance model offered. First, Tony Tiger challenged me to a panic brake stop. The SS-396 can outstop the GTO, but can it outgo the GTO? And what about the Fairlane GT? And then they lined us up for a quarter-mile run. The SS-396 can outgun GTO and leave Fairlane's GT in the dust. We could outstop them and outgun them, but could we outrun them? An all-out high-speed run would tell. From a standing start to the half-mile. It didn't take long to realize the SS-396 can go with the best of them. In fact, it's the pace setter. It was SS-396 going away. Now I was ready to make my move. I knew that the SS-396 takes a backseat to no one in the, go-go field. So I decided to go.
Are you going to stand there and just let them cut out on us, Dr. Yes?
Yes.
What's the matter with you? Can't you ever say no?
How could anyone say no to the SS-396?
Don't you love the go-go for the GTO?
You know what I thought was cool was
you know
that
what? Jen told us that was called a reverse 180.
reverse. Oh, you do that all
Love
the time,
those
don't
old
you, Jen?
films.
Yeah.
she knew it because she does it because she's so cool.
There we go. Boom. All right, just a side note on that, the SS-396.
And you know what?
No,
She's
what?
blonde. So any
Yeah.
guy who has anything to say about dumb blonde jokes, I challenged him
this
to
is-
race her.
Gonna happen.
This is a fakey blonde now.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm a fakey brunette, so
Yeah, there we go.
You
Yeah.
can totally tell, right?
yeah, the roots. You
There we go, liquid glow. There we go. All right, back to the basics and the statistics that I'm always boring about.
I thought it was
Yes.
cool the Fairlane driver was a woman. So.
Yeah, I noticed that, and she was just a GT.
GT.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Well, back in those days, the Chevelle came out with the SS 396 late in 1965. There was only a handful, a couple hundred of those made, and it was very rare, and it's very expensive today if you can find one. The full production of the SS 396 did start in 1966. Now, of the three cars they showed there, we were talking about this off camera, the GTO and the Chevelle had the same chassis and the same brakes. So why did the GTO take longer to stop?
Wait.
Well, no, they didn't wait to hit the brakes. They hit them as soon as they could.
Good morning.
What I'm thinking, though, is the GTO, the option on the Chevelle and the GTO were disc brakes up front. The standard was a drum brake. The GTO may have had just the drum brakes, whereas the Chevelle had the disc brake option.
Sure.
The Ford had the least horsepower of the three. The GTO had 335 as a base motor if you had the 4-barrel. If you had the 3.2s, you had 360. The Chevelle, the 360 was the higher horsepower. The base was 325. The Ford, with a 4-barrel on the GT model, was 315. It had the least amount of horsepower. It had a 390 cubic inch engine. The GTO had 389, and the Chevy at 396.
But as long as you could do a reverse 180 in
you're
any
fine.
of them, it's fine. So, Jen, tell us, how do you do that? You just slam it into reverse and go and crank the wheel?
Put it in reverse and reverse it as fast as you can and crank the wheel. And
Easy for you to
as soon as
say.
it gets around, you slam it into drive and keep going.
And you got to do that with an automatic transmission.
And you know what? And she's
right.
still in total control of the car when she's doing that. And that's what driving is about, is being in control of the car.
Now, you've raced motorcycles. Have you ever road raced a car?
I have not, no.
Okay, so that was part of, and one of the scenes you did in Charlie's Angels was the Indy car.
Yes.
And that was a road race type scene.
It was a road race. It was on a track. Actually, it was out in Fontana.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they had the racetrack out there for a couple days, and we got to drive around it.
All right.
That's probably the closest I've been to on a race course with a car.
You probably have the coolest day job of anybody I've ever met.
Yeah, really. How fast do you want me to drive today? All right, speaking of going fast, we've got Bobby Schlegel here on the phone with us, and he has got a vehicle for sale that we're going to tell you all about, and Bobby's going to tell you all about. How you doing, Bobby?
Hey, Bob, how's everything? I'm enjoying the show, and awesome to hear how that young lady's over there, doing her stuff with the race cars in movies. That's great.
All right, now you've got a great old historic car. Now, this is a dragster. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, it's an original 1959 Linwood, made from Linwood Welding out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and this is the first of the Eliminator chassis. And it was only raced from 59 to 62 by a club out of Danbury, Connecticut called the Modifiers. And 62, the boys were either getting married or going into the service and stuff. And then the car was just in circulation between members until I picked it up in 2013. So like for 40-something, almost 50 years, it was just in different members' garages.
Wow.
But when I restored it, I put it back. I wanted to do it like I did my other car, back to the way it was raced. I didn't chop it up and put roll bars for today. So the rarity of it is the Algon fuel injection that's on the car. Is the original 1960 version of the Algon fuel injection, which a lot of people, the old timers are familiar with it, but the younger guys nowadays, I have to explain it. It's altogether different than the Hillborns. Al Gonzalez, when he made it, he used an old aviation oil pump as the front pump, and it's low pressure. It doesn't need the pill with the spring to send the fuel back into the fuel tank. And this one here, I confirmed it with his relative that has everything when Al passed away, that this is his stage 2 pump, and it's got a little adjustable needle and seat on the side to adjust the pressure in return.
Wow.
Motors are 283, 30 over 14-1 pistons on dyno with a 4-barrel. It made 317 horsepower, 315 torque, and that's with the double hump fuelie heads, cast iron heads with the comp dumper cam. and the Vertex mag.
And have you checked the horsepower rating with the injection on it?
Injection, we couldn't do it there because we didn't have the alcohol set up. The dyno was getting reserviced, so they did it on paper, and they figured it should be somewhere around 3 1/4 to 330, possibly maybe more, and with definitely an easy 325 torque out of it.
Any idea what this car used to run in the quarter?
The club in 1962 went to a track out in Jersey, and they ran unofficially, I can't get no information from NHRA. It was the first B dragster to run 9 seconds. It ran a 995, about 100 and I think it was 159 out at the quarter-mile track in Jersey. And then 2 weeks later, what a coincidence, the Dragmaster took the B dragster record away from the modifiers.
All right, you've got, in the last picture we're showing is you standing next to your Dragmaster chassis car.
Yeah, the one in the right in that picture is my Hells Are Poppin'. That's the one that was built by Dode Martin and Jimmy Nelson, and I'm still in contact with Dode all the time. And then that's Alley-Oop. And the reason I did Alley-Oop was both of these cars originally ran against each other at Dover Drag Strip for Top Eliminator. And the trophy that I got with the car, I had a custom case made for it. That's the trophy the club won in 1962 from Pepsi, supplied the trophy, sponsored the trophy, and it was most eliminator wins in one season at a track.
Wow.
And that was the modifiers.
Oh, cool. All right, so now you're selling the dragster.
Yep.
We got the ad that I think you sent us. You're asking how much for this piece of history?
$22,500.
$22,500. And you can go cackle it at just about any nostalgia event. It's not legal for racing, like you said. You haven't updated the chassis to current specs. You left it as a historic piece the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
But can't you exhibition that though? Wouldn't it be legal to exhibition it? No.
Some tracks. There's a track out in Pennsylvania that, in fact, there's a coincidence picture. That's my Dragmaster with when it was the blown motor running against Alley-Oop, and that's Dover Drag Strip, roughly early 1962 with the flag starter.
Wow.
And that's how that's your trans brake in the background after your crew member releases you.
Your trans brake.
And white wall slicks. I love it.
Yep.
What were they, Bruce's, or they were recap slicks at that point in time, weren't they?
The ones back in those days were the M&H's when they came out of Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
And the ones I have on them now are on both of them are original recapped bike rust, and it is AACA certified with the club, with the Anti-Automobile Club of America, and it's all documented with them and everything.
This is a great car, and it can go to a new fresh home for exhibitions and runs, and you can own a piece of history with this car.
That was in 1959-60 when they first had the car. They had a Hemi on it with 6 deuces, and they couldn't get the carburetors and stuff to sync. So one of the members found a club that was selling their small block 283 with the Algon, and that's what it looked like in 61, 62 up at Dover Drag. In fact, that's Dover again. That's Dover leaving the starting line.
Wheels up. Look at that. How about it? That must have been a kick.
I took it back when I finished it. I took it down to Pennsylvania. Bob Biblo and his brother Pat, they still have the Father Steel fabricating shop, and I brought the dragster down to them when I finished it. A month after I finished it, I brought it to their shop, and they were surprised to see it all finished and everything.
Wow. Now, if someone wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
The phone number is 845-278-7842. And I have a machine designated to that line in case I'm out. It'll take their message, or it'll be Alley-Oop Linwood 1961 at gmail.com. It's information's on that card there.
Okay.
So it's I cackled it at the 3 hot rod reunions in New Hampshire, and I had both of them together. The legends were together. And the photographers kept coming up to me, and they said they couldn't. They were just about seeing 2 of them side by side like that and everything. And when I run it with the alcohol, the V5 with the little nitro additive in it, I'll get a good 2-foot flames out of it. I'll compete with the, the the supercharged cars as far,
All
going
right.
with the flames and stuff.
Well, Bobby, thank you. I hope you're successful in selling it and this car finds another home that we can talk to people about and hopefully see it at many races and nostalgia events. Thanks for calling
Yeah, I
in.
appreciate
You're in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm up in Carmel, New York. Yep, and the car is probably going to. That picture there was when I just finished it, and that was the first Dover drag race up at our Lebanon Valley when I had it on display the first time I finished and had it all completed.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, good night. Thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate it. We appreciate you watching us every week, too.
Oh, well, also too, my friend Chris Romeo, he's in the background at his house watching it too. So I got to, and the body shop's already hooked up. They told me before that they're taking their dinner break so they can go online and watch you guys.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's great. Tell them, shout out to them. What are the guys' names out there at the body shop?
Chris Romeo, and then it's Pat, and then JR.
All right. Well, Chris, Pat, and JR, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, smoochie to Chris, Pat, and JR.
Oh, that's more than I get, and I work with her every 2 weeks. Gee whiz. All right.
Thank you for your time and everything. I appreciate you letting me talk about the car on the air.
I appreciate you
safe.
calling in, Bobby. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care. Yep. Be
Or
safe.
2
Bye-bye.
weeks. Thank you. All right, last words, Richard.
Huh?
Okay. Jennifer.
Just want to say thanks. If you want to know more information about our products, it's liquidglow.net. If you want to follow Jennifer, the course Mopar Max on Facebook, moparmax.com. We'll be talking about the car and the racing, and it's going to be a fun couple of months here.
Anna?
Get your shine on, Liquid Glow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can see how white her teeth are. It works really good. Jennifer?
Oh,
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right. You
Thank
getting
you
ready?
very much for having me here.
No, not a problem.
you.
We're glad you can make it.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the drag, so I hope to see that Mopar wheels up with you behind the wheel.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for Bruce and myself, thank you for tuning in for another edition of Gas, the Great American Auto Scene. And remember, anytime you want to get gas, find us on Facebook. It's Great American Auto Scene, Gas, GAAS, and you can see an encore presentation right after this.